Hey everybody, David Pease here broadcasting from Studio Squim with my good friend Jonathan Hagee. He's here to take on the Scooby Doo expandable card game. This is a great game. Uh, Came out, if I remember correctly, right around 2000, 2001, and unfortunately didn't last too long retail, but it's been rediscovered, and we're going to try to bring it back, right, Jonathan?
Absolutely.
Now if you watch the channel, you know Jonathan and I are both big fans of the X-Files CCG. Now the guys that worked on that game, ultimately that game was canceled. They moved on to other prospects, and the Scooby Doo license. Oh, somebody's at the door. If you can hear my dog freaking out. Uh, uh, where was I? Oh, so the X Files was as a game was canceled. The gentleman who worked on that moved on, and where they ended up, they had the license for Scooby Doo from Warner Brothers, and they had already been working on a kind of lighter version, a scaled down, a little more beginner approachable version of the X Files, and they took that framework and put the Scooby Doo game on it. So if you're a fan of the X Files CCG, you've watched the show, uh, you'll recognize a lot of the mechanics here. Uh, I'll go over it real quickly. John, I've played one game. Jonathan, this is your first. Is that correct?
It is correct.
Yeah. So this is going to be fun. We might refer to the rules a little bit.
Or a
Maybe
lot.
make some judgment calls. If we get any viewers out there, knowledgeable viewers who want to help out, definitely get in the comments and let us know if we're doing something wrong. But just very quickly, and Jonathan, again, jump in if I don't explain something to its fullest potential. But the idea here is that we both have cards here in the what we call the malt shop, and that is our team. It's the Scooby Gang, Scooby Doo, Shaggy, Fred, Velma, and Daphne. And so, what they're trying to do is investigate locations represented by these cards here, these greenish cards. If they successfully investigate that site, uh, we draw a card from our clue pile. Now, before off camera, before we came on, Jonathan and I picked a card from this subset of 15 cards, and that is the mystery card you'll see up here. And Jonathan's got his up on the right side of his table as well. What we are trying to do is investigate locations, reveal clues, and ultimately by a process of elimination using this checklist that I have here. Uh, you can see down on the right with the pen there. Uh, Ultimately, through a process of elimination, we will figure out what the mystery card is. Now, these mystery cards, as we turn them over, I'll show you what they look like, but they are basically the title cards from the cartoons. So each card has the title of one of the episodes from Scooby Doo, Where Are You? And those represent the mysteries. So the mystery card is one of those represents one of those episodes. And the remaining 14 we are going to reveal and ultimately check them off our list and figure out which one our opponent is holding. To do that, we will move the Scooby Gang from the malt shop, which is kind of a safe area, move it to a location that we've played from our hand. And that location, there are three kinds. There you are, a master location, there's a major location, and a minor location. And depending on which one, if you successfully investigate it, that will tell us how many cards we can flip over from our clue pile. The master card, if you successfully investigate the master card, you get to turn over one card and mark that off of your list. If you successfully investigate a major location, you're rewarded by revealing two cards. And if you successfully investigate a minor location, you get to reveal 3 clue cards. So if you get up to that and you're revealing 3 cards at a time, you're going to burn through it pretty quick. But we'll see. I've played this game once with Steven on the Alien Investigations channel. I definitely am going to direct you to uh, the Alien Investigation channel. You definitely want to check that out and subscribe to Steven's channel. Shout out to Steven. It's a lot of great content there. He puts a lot of effort into it, so you would definitely want to check it out. That game lasted a lot longer than we anticipated. We did fumble around a little bit. Jonathan, you were witnessing it there. You were in the chat.
Yeah, it lasted a lot longer than everybody thought it would. I think we all kind of thought, oh, the mechanics are a little simpler. This is going to go pretty fast. That was not the case.
That was not the case, no. But I suspect that as we go through the cards and get a lot more familiar with them, things will go by a little quicker. But we're still at the beginning stages, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, so the question is, well, David, you talk about it, successfully investigating these sites. What does that mean? Well, each site, depending on whether it's a major, master, or minor location, has what they call a fright level. That is represented by that number 10 right there. That is how scary that location is. And a master location, most of them are 10. Some are 11, some are 9, if I remember correctly. But each character, I'm going to pick up one of these characters and bring Shaggy up here. You see he's got a negative number, and that is his bravery number. The team together will move to a site, or maybe not together, depending on how we play it, but we will move our characters to the site. And if the fright level is 10, Scooby has a -2, Shaggy has a -1, Fred has a -3, Velma has a -3, and Daphne a -1. So we will add up all those negative numbers and apply it to that fright. If we get the fright level down to 0 or less, if we go below 0, and our opponent is not able to change that and bring it up above 0, then we were brave enough to successfully investigate the site, and we will get the reward of revealing the number of clue cards. If our opponent does manage to get that fright level above 0, we do not successfully investigate the site. We do leave it on the table, and we can go back and revisit that site later if we want to try and do it again. If it is successfully investigated, we still leave it on the field, but we turn it upside down. We cannot go back to that location. It's been done. The only exception to that rule is if we have a duplicate of that same location, we can play and investigate the duplicate, but we can't just keep returning to the same site after we've finished successfully with it. Now, the one trick with locations, I said there's 3 different levels, and these other levels, the major and minor, you have to build up to it. It's like this, they'll say on it, you have to have successfully investigated in this case, the haunted mansion. There's rooms within the haunted mansion, but you can't those will be the major and minor locations. You can't investigate those until you have successfully investigated the master location, and then you will play that location onto that one. You'll see it as we play through. We are playing with starter decks with a couple of augmented cards in there, and Jonathan's going to treat us to a couple of expansion packs there in just a minute. But your deck should include the escalating number or the escalating types of cards, so that you can start revealing more and more cards and get the advantage over your opponent. So it sounds easy, right? Well, good luck with that, because once the location is out there and you move your team to the site, you move the Scooby Gang there, and you think you're ready to investigate that site, well, your opponent gets a chance to play what are either event cards, item cards. See, this orange one is the event, red is item, blue or purple are the villains and blue are the friends. Now we will, once the team is at that site, the opponent has a chance to play one of these types of cards to alter that fright level at the location. Uh, to do that, we do have tokens represented by Scooby Snacks to pay for those. And I'll bring this card up to the camera here. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. Now you'll see this is the one of my personal favorites from the show, the Spooky Space Kook, or the Space Ghost. And you can see here, there it is. He costs 5 and he adds 6 to the fright level. So this haunted mansion is 10. If I were to manage to pay for that card and play it on the site, that makes the fright level 16. That's pretty high. This is one of the more advanced cards. I pulled it out to use it as an example, but we would have to beat 16 to do that. How do we do it? Well, we have friends, items, or events that can change that. And you can see each of these cards also has a little word balloon or description on it with a game effect that's going to change things. In this case, I've got the Spooky Space Kook here. Not only do I have to pay 5 Scooby Snacks for my pool here, it says you must discard a monster already at this location to play this card. So not only do I have to pay 5 Scooby Snacks, I also have to discard any monster that's already there. So I can't just keep building up and, oh my goodness, now the fright level is at 25 or something like that, and it's nuts. So that's one of the little safeguards from that. Friend cards work in the same way. You pay a certain amount. In this case, the friend actually adds to the fright level, but typically these friends will reduce the fright level. Your opponent would play this one to change it. And this one, for example, is Henry Boscombe. Henry Boscombe decreases by 1 the bravery of one member of Mystery Incorporated. So not only does it add 2 to the fright level, but it takes 1 away from my Scooby Gang. So that's a particularly tough one. These event cards work in kind of the same way. You can see the cost in Scooby Snacks there is 3 on this particular one, and a game effect. I'm not going to spend too much time reading all of these, but you get the idea. And then items, same thing as Scooby Snacks. This one in particular costs 0. That's not typical. Usually they all cost 1, 2, or 3 or something like that. And the item, in the same way these other cards, has a description on it that will add an effect to the game in some way. In this case, discard the horse and buggy to remove a monster card from play until the end of your next action. Not bad if you're in a position to beat the fright level. You can take that monster away.
Not bad if you need to remove the space kook.
Yeah, boy, wouldn't that be nice, right? The difference between these event cards, you will play those, you'll play that event for its description, for its game effect, and then discard it. Monsters, friends, items, they stay until the end of the turn unless the card says something different. Some items, there's a mystery machine that is an item card that you can play, and it stays with the Scooby Gang and helps out with, if I remember correctly, a -1. So it's almost like having an extra character there with your team. These other ones will stay at the location until the end of the turn, and then they're discarded. If I remember correctly, maybe they stay there, Jonathan, until the site is investigated. Do you recall that?
They stay. I think it said they stay there to the end of the turn, and like you said, unless the card says to do otherwise.
Right. Yeah. So at the end of the turn, they stay at the location until we decide if this has been investigated or not investigated, and then they'll move on. Yep. Gosh. Yeah. Any other major mechanics that I forgot before we get rolling?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well,
you know it a little better than I do.
I'm sorry, what's that?
You probably know it a little better than I do, having played once.
Well, just to just to clarify, for the setup for Scooby snacks, like I said, we use these snacks to help pay for the cards so that we can play them. If we don't have enough Scooby snacks to pay for it, uh, my dog just
Can't
threw
do
up
it.
on the floor right next to me. Thanks for that.
Oh wow.
The camera just pooped. Okay, there we go. Uh, we use Scooby. Oh man, that's disgusting.
It's not good.
And there's number two. So if you don't have enough Scooby snacks to pay for a card, you can't play it, unfortunately. So each of us is going to start out with a certain number. The Scooby Gang will start out with 10, monsters with 7. Now, the trick with that is, and monsters being the opponent, how they refer to opponents. Ugh, that stinks too. Damn it. I'm going to have to edit that out later. The Scooby Gang will use their 10, but the trick is once we switch, whether they've been able to play or investigate a location or not, once their turn is finished, we will switch, and the other player will become the Scooby Gang, and the player who was the Scooby Gang becomes the villain. The Scooby snacks that the former Scooby Gang played will carry over with them. So say I start as the Scooby Gang with 10 and I only use 4 or 5, let's say 4. So I have 6 left. Those will carry over for my villain turn. The person who is the villain starts with 7. They use as many as they want. Once they turn to Scooby Gang, they immediately replenish to 10 and start out with a fresh pool of 10 Scooby snacks. So that's something we'll keep in mind. The Scooby Gang, once we switch over to the villain, whatever we have left is what we have left to play as the villain. So don't splurge and spend all your Scooby snacks in one spot and not have anything to play as the villain. It could go against you. But
and David, I do believe too, once you comes back to you being the investigating, even if you have more than 10, you still start again with 10.
Yeah, if you somehow manage, some cards do give you bonus Scooby snacks to add to your pool. When you start as Scooby, say you had 12 left over, that would be an incredible game. You do have to take it back down to 10 and start with 10. That's one of the things they use to keep it fair.
It's one of the things that's a little different than X-Files that we're used to. Well,
yeah, there's a lot of things different from X-Files. One thing to keep in mind too, for players that are new to the game, in the X-Files, if you can pay for it, you can play as many sites as you want. But in the X-Files, you only get to play one location per turn. The good news is they stay there. If you don't manage to successfully investigate, it's there for the next turn if you want. So that's a way to save Scooby snacks too. If you've got a location that carried over from the previous turn, you don't necessarily have to play another one if you don't want to. Let's determine who is going to go first. We're going to do a little different. Usually on Studio Squim, Scooby snacks going everywhere. Usually we flip a coin, but instead I'm going to take one of my Scooby snacks here, the biggest one in the bunch here. Yes, these are pinto beans that I painted brown so that I could have Scooby snacks in my little Scooby box here too, my Scooby snack box. I'm going to put this in one of my hands, all right? And then why don't you try and guess which one it is? And you'll get, if you guess which one it's in, you get to decide if you're going to be the Mystery Incorporated or the villain. Ready, boss?
I'm ready.
All right. Which one is it?
I'm going to say your left hand.
This one right here? Nope, it's empty. The Scooby snack was right here.
There it is.
All right. I get to choose, and I am going to start as Mystery Incorporated. Let's see what happens here. And we each draw 8 to get started. Oh, before we get started, did you want to augment your deck with some booster packs?
while we were doing it, I broke open an Alien expansion pack.
Okay.
I added a few cards and shuffled.
Okay. So you've augmented your deck a little bit. Mine is the starter deck plus a couple extras that I thought might be kind of fun. Hopefully I get to them. It's shorter deck than I usually play with other games. So hopefully we'll get through it pretty quickly. But yeah, those what is it called? Alien expansion. I was saying that the game didn't last very long in retail. They had the starter and base set. They had time for one expansion before the project was closed up. So those alien expansion cards, those boosters, kind of tough to come by. Jonathan is a shrewd eBayer and was able to find those packs. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those.
Whoa!
Whoa! I bought a few. Here's an intrepid Scooby Gang member. How you doing, my friend?
Good.
Awesome, awesome. Now you've already played the X-Files, so this might not be enough of a challenge. Are you a Scooby Doo fan though? Do you watch the show?
Yeah.
Kind of as much as the next person, maybe, whatever. But hopefully you might enjoy it, especially since your dad invested in a 2-player starter deck. You guys could have some fun with it, play some quick games. So welcome to the show. Thanks for coming by. Stick around, but no coaching. I'm already I'm not a very good player, so don't be giving your dad any help. I don't have any assistance except for Scooby Doo sitting here on my on the side looking over my shoulder. But
you cleaned up at File Fest, didn't you? With the hell money.
That's my understanding, that you were played X-Files CCG kind of like a master, walked away with quite a few prizes there, including an uncut sheet, which I am supremely jealous of. That's something that I definitely want. So that's very cool. You showed it off in an episode on alien investigations. I keep throwing it back because he's got a lot of great content there. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I could tell you were really proud of it. So I said it before, but again, congratulations on being a great player. That's very cool. So now that we've determined that, Jonathan and I both have starter decks with just a few extra cards to make it interesting. Now we're going to draw our 8 to get started. We already determined that I am the Mystery Incorporated. Something cool about this game too is that if you don't have a sight in your draw hand, you can do a mulligan. Now in this particular case, I did get a sight card, so I will be able to make a play there. So I will decide against the mulligan and just go right into my actions. There are a few actions that the Scooby Gang can play, and then a few that the villain can play. Mystery Incorporated actions, I can do any of these. Player may play 1 location per turn, only 1. The Mystery Incorporated team can move once per turn, either move from the malt shop to a location, from one location to another location. Maybe if a location has a monster on it that's going to cause some kind of damage, I can move them away and bring them back to the malt shop if I want, but I get 1 move and that's it. So I got to be strategic about that. Pay for and play a card from my hand. That would be one of those item friends cards that I've talked about earlier. I can discard an item to gain its effect. A lot of those red item cards require you to discard it. That's why they're usually free, but you can do that. That's one of your actions. And then the last one, use a Mystery Incorporated card's special ability. Something I neglected to mention. I'm sorry, Jonathan, I promise we're actually going to play the game here tonight. But one last thing. Each of the Scooby Gang has a game effect on it as well. I won't go through them all because I'm sure we'll want to play them, and we'll read it out loud when it comes by. But each of them has its own unique ability that's a great game changer that you can only use once per game. For me, I put a token, a little dime on each of these just to remind myself that I get one play, and once I remove it, that's the end of it. But they're cool things like getting extra Scooby snacks or drawing cards, or even altering the fright level or your bravery level, but just once per turn. So that's one of the moves you can do as well. So that having been said, I am actually going to move from analog to digital here. You may recognize this fine app. Rather than trying to count those beans on the camera. Gosh, I had it all set up and then I blew it. Added that cool Scooby green and everything. Yeah. Okay, 10 Scooby snacks. And with that, my first action will be to play a site. And that is going to be, whoops, the costume tent. This is a major location because, the fright level is 11. So obviously I'm going to have to play something because, like I said, I added up the negatives to only 10. So an interesting way to start the game. Jonathan, with that having been done, you get your chance to play a card. Anything you want to play before I take my next action?
I am going to pay 3 Scooby snacks to play Dracula. And he adds 3 to the fright level.
14, huh? That kind of puts a kink in my plan here. Interesting. Okay. Well, my next action, before I do that, let me make sure I have my ducks in a row. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I am. I'm going to move my whole team, the whole Scooby Gang, to the costume tent. That counts as my action. Any other cards before I make another move here?
Nope.
Okay.
I
am going to take advantage of an item card here, and that's the chandelier. It cost me 3 Scooby snacks, so I'm going to go down to 7. Discard chandelier to capture a monster at the same location. Now, capture is the term that they mean to send a monster to the discard pile. So I'm going to play that on your vampire.
And I am immediately going to pay 2 Scooby snacks to play We Got Shag and Scoobs. Play on your villain phase to cancel a just played capture card or card effect.
Unreal. Okay, wow, that's a great starting hand.
Yeah. So we're back where we started, Dracula.
We're right back to 14. Well done, sir. Okay. Well, back to me then, since you've made that action. I'm going to pay 1 Scooby snack to play a friend. It's Ebenezer Sharp. He's going to help out the Scooby Gang investigate this. Ebenezer Sharp lowers the fright level of a location by 1 while in play. So it was 14, 11, plus your 3 from your vampire. Ebenezer Sharp is joining us, and he will take it down to 13. Any other actions, or do you want to pass?
I believe I will pass, and I think you're going to play Velma's.
That's exactly what I had in mind. I'm going to use Velma's ability, which also gives me a chance to read it out loud for the people at home. Once per game, you may lower the fright level of a villain by 3. So I'm going to take advantage of that, and that takes your vampire back down to 0. Still at the site, but he's a 0 modifier. So I'm back down to...
You're at 10.
I'm at 10 right now, so I'm right at the cusp. Anything you want to do to thwart that, sir?
I'm out of things to do.
Okay. All right, so that is a successfully investigated location, the costume tent. It's been cleared. So what I'll do is I'll turn that upside down. It stays in play in case I have another site that I want to play on top of it, but upside down so I can't just keep going to the same thing over and over. Now that that is over, my buddy Ebenezer Sharp will go to the discard pile. And because that... What's that?
I said, as does Dracula.
As does Dracula. We're all done with that one. Now that was a major location, so I get to do 2 clue cards. Not bad. I've got my handy checklist. Again, anyone watching this might mistake it for the X-Files if it wasn't for the Scooby Gang on here. So the first one I'm going to reveal is Mind Your Own Business. So I'll find that on here and I'll mark it off. Second clue, a night of fright is no delight. Let me find that on here. Mark that off. All right, there's 15. I've got you down to 13. I could make a guess. And the penalty, if I'm incorrect, is you get to reveal a clue card. With 13 options out there, I don't want to give you any advantage just yet. So I'm going to pass on that.
All righty.
And that is going to end my turn. My 6 Scooby Snacks will carry over to my villain phase, and you, sir, go up to 10 and start your Mystery Incorporated turn.
Let's see. Now, do we draw back up to 8 cards?
I believe so. Let me just quickly double check. I think we both do, don't we?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't even need to look. I remember that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to draw 3.
I'm drawing 2.
All right, and the first action is yours, good sir.
All right. I am going to play a master location, the barn.
The barn, eh?
And what have you got for me?
What have I got for you?
Anything yet?
I do. I'm going to come out swinging. Another personal favorite from when I was a kid. I'm going to pay 4 Scooby Snacks and play the Minor 49er. Minor 49er is raises the fright level of a location by 4 while in play. So I'm sorry, your fright level on that side on the barn is 10.
That's correct.
That's the printed value. So we're up to 14 now. And the next play is yours, sir.
All right. Let's see. Well, I am going to play Scooby's game effect by spending his token, and his game effect is it allows you to pull from your deck once any item during the game. So let's go look for a good item.
Yes, yes, sir. There are a few good ones out there. I'm very curious. You must have something in mind, possibly something from that Alien expansion, which I will not be ready for probably.
I found the one I want. I am going to shuffle this deck some more because I don't think it's shuffled very well.
Oh, well, yeah.
Plus, I looked at it, so I should shuffle it anyway.
That happened with my first game too. The cards are so they're in such great shape, and I didn't sleeve them.
I didn't
And
sleeve mine either.
yeah, and they're nice and stiff and crisp and new. And I was like, ooh, and then I ended up
They
the
really
way
hurt.
the way I shuffled it, you could tell it was bad news because my opening hand was like all locations. I was like, I got to do this over again. And I did it the old fashioned way. It broke my heart, but hey, these cards were made to be played, not to sit in a museum or be all pristine. At least not at my house.
No, well, these are the starter decks are all the same. It's not like they're special cards or anything.
Yeah, no surprises really in there.
Okay. So the item I'm going to play. Let's see. It says you're able to pull the item from your deck. It does not say it lowers the cost or anything like that. So
you'd have to play it as normal, yeah.
I am going to pay 4.
Well, before we go any further, now using a Mystery Incorporated card special ability is an action. So
okay.
it would turn back to me to
Okay.
do something if I wanted. That having been said, we're at 14 now. I know you're going to give me a double whammy. You're going to give me a whammy here in a second. You're at what's your Scooby snack level right now?
Well, right now it's a 10.
Oh, okay, it's full. Huh? You know what? I'm going to pass. I got to see what you have in mind here. Let's see. Give me your best.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pay 4 to play the one item that doesn't go away, the Mystery Machine.
Oh, that's a great card. Yeah.
And, the Mystery Machine lowers the fright value by 1, but you do not discard it. It becomes part of your team, basically.
Yep. Which is logical.
And it
follows the team.
Yes, and it's that way. It counts as a member of the Mystery Inc. for movement purposes. So it can, everybody, if you don't move everybody, it doesn't have to go. It can go with some, but it can't go with everybody. If they go to separate locations, it can only go one or the other. It's why it's saying it that way. Just going to place it right there. So that makes our total cost down to 13. Correct, or our fright value at 13 right now, right?
Yes.
Because we were at 14.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. I move it back to you, sir.
Yes. Well, got to use them or lose them when you're the villain. So let's also put some Chinese zombies at that location. That's going to cost me 1, so that'll take me down to 1. And the Chinese zombies add +1 to the fright level of a location. So the printed value is 10. Minor 49er makes it 14. The Chinese zombies make it 15.
Well, that's just put me in a pickle. I don't have anything else I can do anything with. And I can't use Velma's action to get back down to 10. That would just get me to 11. So I believe I am done.
You've got -11 though, right, with the Mystery Machine?
Oh, wait, you might be right. Wait, what are you at? Are you at 14 or 15?
Well, I've got Minor 49er for 4 and Zombies for 1. So I add 10 to the printed value. So if you were to move the entire Mystery Incorporated gang, you would have
11.
10, and then the van adds 11. So if you
And
use
then just her
Velma,
effect would be 14.
well, we're at 15. Velma takes away
Well,
3, so you'd still be at 12. So you'd still be off by 1,
yeah.
if my math is correct there.
Yeah, I was adding it to her. It's the same either way though. So if I lowered yours, you're at 15. If I lowered it by 3, that'd put us at 12, but I had 11.
Yeah, so you're still just shy.
Just shy. I think that'll do it for me then.
Okay, well, it's not a complete loss. The site still stays out there in play, so you can take advantage of it next time.
And I got the mystery machine.
And you got the mystery machine. More importantly, you got the mystery machine. So now the mystery gang is complete. With that, we skipped the discard, but the discard phase of that. But we can have up to 8, and I've got 6. And was the same situation in the previous turn. I didn't need to discard anything. Do you need to discard down to 8?
No, I only have 7, but I may discard anyway. I don't really care for that card. It's not very useful. And I kind of, like, before I shuffled, I kind of did like you did. I drew a bunch of locations. So I'm considering whether or not I should discard a few locations. Ooh, but not that one. I think too, David, it says on the minor locations that they must be played on a particular on they name a location, it must be. So I don't think you can play those by themselves.
You cannot.
Yeah.
No, that's what I was saying earlier. Is that those minor locations you need to have successfully investigated and have out on the play table the card that it mentions on there as kind of like a prerequisite to playing that. So not only do you have
Master and Major, you can both play.
Yeah, they don't have restrictions on them, but the minor ones where you draw 3 cards, you have to have investigated the site that it mentions in the quotes on the game effect there in order to play that one. Otherwise, you just stack your deck with minor locations and clean out your opponent pretty quickly.
No, I mean, they're cool, but they're also they're also difficult to do because the fright factor being so much higher. I am going to discard. I don't want. I'm going to discard 3 because I don't need these. I don't feel like. That's going to take me down to 4.
Okay.
And then when we switch, when we go, I'll draw 4 new cards. Back up to 8.
So we're all done, right? And we'll switch back, and I'm Mystery Incorporated, and you're the villain, which means I'll take my Scooby Snacks up 10.
And I'll keep my, what do I have? 2, 4, 6. My 6.
Come on, buddy. Okay. So now we draw up, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, I've got 6, so I'll take 2.
And I had 4, so now I've got 8.
Interesting. Oh. Well, I don't have that trick with me again. Let me see. I think I'm going to do a familiar play here. I'm going to start out using Scooby's game effect. This is going to look very familiar, Jonathan.
Just find the
Uh,
mystery machine.
yeah, Scooby Doo, pull his effect, pull any item from your deck once during the game. So I'm going to go through here real quick.
That's probably not a bad idea to do first turn. Just thinking about it now, no matter what, just to get the mystery machine.
Just to kind of stack up your
Yeah, because then you're
your bravery. Yeah.
then you're at 11 the rest of the game unless something removes the mystery machine. There might be a card in there that forces the removal of an item, but I don't know. I don't know if such a card exists. Don't know these cards well enough to know that yet.
Revisit my hand here real quick to make sure my strategy is in play. Okay. Well, it doesn't say that I have to show it to you.
No, you don't. It doesn't say you have to play it either.
Nope. But that is, I'm going to shuffle here and turn over to you. That's my first action. So if you have something you want to do in the meantime while I shuffle.
Let's see. You don't currently have any sites in play, right?
No, the one that's on the field has been successfully investigated, so I won't be going there.
Okay. Then I don't have anything I want to do right now.
Okay, let me get just a couple more seconds here to get these sufficiently randomized. I used to work at a casino, and one of my goals a couple of years ago while I was at the casino was to learn cardistry. Have you seen that before?
Yeah, where they do all the fancy shuffling and moving.
Yeah, I was going to try to learn to do some of those things, and I got a really great deck actually from the casino there, and I tried, but I didn't get as far.
I was going to say those cards are different, aren't they? They're made out of a more plastic material instead of more of the paper material.
Yeah, they're wax coated and real slick.
Yeah.
So they'll move across the table real fast, and that makes them a lot easier to do that with. I wouldn't dare do any of those stunts with my Scooby.
Well, they don't bend. They don't bend like the paper cards too. They like normal playing cards that get bent real easy. They're not as easily bent. I mean, I guess you can bend them if you really try.
If you want to, you can certainly do that. Yeah. Just another moment here. But yeah, as far as the farthest I got was where you take the card and you kind of bend a little bit and shoot them into your hand really fast. It's kind of a basic thing most kids can.
Yeah, I can do I can do the kind where you do it like this. You go and flip them up. I can do that back and forth.
Yeah.
I always like the one where you kind of held them like this, and they folded into one. Like that. That was always a cool one. I never did learn how to do that, but I did like just general shuffling cards. I can do that halfway decent. I used to play some poker with some buddies of mine in Lexington when I lived in Lexington, and we would play every Friday or Saturday night, and we just mess around with shuffling cards, and we just did it so much that we actually got halfway decent at it. I mean,
nice.
Nothing beyond those things. I mean, we didn't get anything else, but we got to where we didn't have cards shooting all over the place.
Right, you had the deck under control.
Yes.
All right, no surprises here. 4 Scooby snacks, and I'm going to add the mystery machine to my gang. That's an action, so I'll turn back to you. Anything you want to do before I play another card?
Let me check real quick. I am going to pay 2 Scooby snacks to play the library, and play this card to draw the top 2 cards from your play deck and add them to your hand.
Okay.
Okay. And then I turn it back over to you.
All right. Well, let's get this party started. Going to play the site Sunken Ship. I'll pull it up to the camera there real quick. Sunken Ship, you can see that is a fright level of 11. It is a major location. The quote beneath it says Graveyard of Ships. But that site is out there. Anything you would like to do before I make another move?
I need to pay for that one. I just did, by the way. I didn't pay for it. Okay. Now I'm paid up.
Okay.
No more debts. Let's see. So it's an 11, and you're at 11. Am I correct?
If I were to send the entire team
Yes.
with the mystery machine, yes.
I am going to pay 3. Actually, I'm not going to pay 3. I'm going to pay 1 and send a familiar foe. Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, Chinese zombies.
The Chinese zombies.
Add 1 to the fright value.
It's
up to 12 if my math is good.
Velma, where are you?
And Velma's out.
Velma's got nothing for me now.
So Velma can't save you now. Very quickly, because these cards are all very new, so I don't want to let an opportunity pass me by here. But it would seem I don't have anything to help me get that fright level low enough. So I think I'm actually going to, I'm going to pass. All right. Well, now that that looks like that's not going to happen, Chinese zombies will be discarded.
Yeah, I'll move that over to the side here. Still turned face, or to the correct alignment, so it's available to investigate next turn. I passed. Did you have any other actions? If not, we'll switch.
No, and I don't need to discard. I'm at 7, so I'm good with that. And I like my 7.
I am at 7, and no reason really to discard, so I'm going to keep everything here. And you, sir, are now the Mystery Incorporated player.
I get to start adding some Scooby snacks. Back up to 10.
Yeah, my 6 carries over, so I have to be frugal here.
Okay. Okay, let's see. All right. I am going to move everybody to the barn. It's already in play, and I haven't. So that's my first action.
And that's a fright level of 10. Do I remember that correctly?
But I did need to draw one card. Are you up to 8 cards? I was at 7.
Oh, yeah, I did not. I was at 7 as well.
No, I wasn't. I was. Okay, I got that wrong. Sorry. Yep. Okay, good there.
And thank you for reminding me to draw my card, because it did help me out. I'm going to play on the barn the Shadow Phantom. The Shadow Phantom. Oh, I'll pay my 2 first and foremost. The Shadow Phantom raises the fright level of a location by 2 while in play. So the printed value is 10, and the Shadow Phantom makes it 12.
Well, I'm going to take advantage of Velma's token and knock it down 3. So that brings the fright value on the barn down to 7, and you add 1. Is that correct?
I had 2, so you're at 9 right now.
I'm at 9. And I've got 11.
I got nothing to stop you, my man.
All right. Well, it looks like we're going to finally get that barn investigated.
Right. So just to recap, the printed value was 10.
Correct.
My Shadow Phantom added 2, which made the fright level 12. You played your game effect of Velma, which reduced the fright level of a villain by 3. So that pretty much took my guy out of the running.
Mm-hmm.
Made the fright level 10. Now you moved all your mystery incorporated to the site, right?
Mm-hmm. With 11 because of the mystery machine.
With minus 11. So yeah, you nailed it. I'll put Shadow Phantom.
That was expensive though to give up that token.
Yeah, I played mine early and I'm already regretting it, but
I've got to ask something. I mean, I haven't got to ask anything yet or check off anything yet.
I was going to say, you don't ask in this one, you just take it. Just take those clues.
I'm too used to the X-Files.
Steven and I were doing that in our game too. It's like, okay, I'm the investigating player. I mean, I'm Mystery Incorporated. Right. I'm this conspiracy player. No, wait, I'm the villain.
Okay, so I'll flip that one over. Bedlam in the Big Top. So let me find Bedlam in the Big Top. Okay.
Oh, I believe we have a viewer there. Thanks for joining us on a live broadcast of Scooby Doo ECG. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to wait till the end of the game. I really like this game. Before I make comments, I think it's kind of fun. I mean, it's
not so much to keep up with.
It's with the X-Files. When you play the X-Files CCG with me, it takes forever because I mull over my hand for like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes because there's so many things you have to keep in mind. With this one, it's a little lighter, so it's.
If you play it highly technical too, you've got all those cards that are adding all these modifiers, and if it's got this keyword and this thing, it adds, a conspiracy point or research, and it's just keeping track of the logistics can get kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing like Steven does, where he's got 15 different cards adding stuff every turn.
Yeah, he's definitely an intrepid player
Yeah.
of the game. He seems like he's ready for everything.
Yeah.
He's a great opponent. But yeah, this kind of, you get to play a fun game and give your brain a little bit of a break.
All right, my man, I'm going to flip that one upside down. And that worked out good for me because it didn't cost me anything. I get to keep all my Scooby snacks.
Not good for me in the villain phase coming up here.
You know, now that I think about it, though, I probably still should have played a sight because I would have had one going into the next. I mean, you know, I don't know that it really mattered, but
Well, the turn is technically not over, so you have that action available if you want to set yourself up for the next turn.
oh, you know what? Now that I do have that situation going on, this might be a good time to maybe, discuss this. So now I did that. I have not played a site.
Right.
I have the minor location of Hermit of the Hill Cave, which requires the barn. So now that it's been investigated, I guess I could play that this turn. Does that sound? Do those mechanics sound correct?
Yeah, you could play
Okay.
that site on it.
Do it that way, I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, you've already moved your
Yeah, I can't do anything.
gang and that kind of thing.
And carry on to the next turn. Yeah. Of course, I didn't physically move them, but
Well, we know.
yeah.
You know.
All right, my
All
man. That makes it your deal.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to play as the villain, and I assume as the Mystery Incorporated you're passing.
Yep, I think so. I guess that just takes us to discard, or if we have anything to discard.
I've got 7, so I'm going to hold on to mine.
I've got 7 as well, so we'll
All
each
right.
be picking up one.
So I'll draw my card as well. I will take my Scooby snacks up to 10 to start my Mystery Incorporated phase. Could use that card in the last turn. Thank you very much, deck. Wonderful. Not feeling very confident.
Oh, David, I wanted to ask you, have you read the Ellen expansion rules?
I have not. I'm not familiar with them at all. Maybe, did you have a chance to go through them?
I did.
And while I'm considering what I'm doing here,
Sure.
what's different? What changed?
There's not much different. It doesn't change gameplay. What it does do is, because there are new people available for investigating players, basically, what you have to do is they have the team value can only be 10, negative 10, like it is.
Oh, okay.
So if you add somebody that's got, you could add 2 more people, and they'd have to be like a -1, a -2, and then you'd have to lose a -3. The total. So that's similar to X-Files, where you can't just pile agents in. You can't just pile the new Mystery Inc. team players in either. You've got to pick and choose.
Yeah. Not to keep referring back to the X-Files, but just like you said, it kind of puts a limitation on your team. So now you have to kind of pick and choose and can't go beyond -10 on your bravery. Interesting.
There were only 3 changes, and the second one I thought it was already this way. So the second change was, if at any time you run out of cards in your draw pile, simply reshuffle your discard pile and create a new draw deck. I thought we already did that. So
I didn't think deck is life. I thought, you just kind of start over again.
Yeah.
So I guess we're playing with the alien expansion rules tonight.
Yeah. And then I don't even know what this means.
Let's
And
give it a try.
it might just be a joke. It says when the Mystery Inc. player is done investigating a location, it is time for a commercial break. So,
Oh, there are cards because I've looked through mine when I just bought like a huge lot of cards from Mike Perrine that you know from X-Files CCG.
yeah.
Another great channel that you need to go subscribe to. I'll put that in the description. But there are cards that say this monster stays in play until the next commercial break. So I'm guessing that's how
That's what that means. So
that's how that plays out. So there are some cards that specifically mention the commercial break, and
okay.
instead of calling it, saying, well, this monster stays until the end of the turn or the end of the next action, they added commercial break as another kind of stopping point for some of those special cards. That's interesting. Yeah, that card popped up when Steven and I were playing, and neither of us knew what's the commercial break. We just
So it's clarifying what a commercial break is. It's when investigating player it's when Mystery Inc. player is done investigating a location. That's when the commercial break occurs.
Okay.
Okay, that's what that is. So it's a clarification.
Okay, so the end of a turn is actually
investigating.
Well, the end of a turn, then would that be when we have each played the role? Like I played Mystery Incorporated, and then you played Mystery Incorporated, and that's a turn. And then a commercial break is only when the Mystery Incorporated person is stopped.
We're calling it a turn. It's not calling it that. It says when the Mystery Inc. player is done investigating a location.
Right.
It's time for a commercial break.
Oh, a location. Gotcha. I that for some reason that very important word went right over my head. So that makes sense. But yeah, that's what that's referring to. There are cards that only last until a commercial break.
Gotcha.
All right, I am the Mystery Incorporated player. I've got my full hand, and my Scooby snacks are up to 10. So let's talk business. This is going? Yeah, that sucks. And your Scooby snack pile, you're at 10, aren't you? Are you full?
Yep, I didn't spend any last turn.
All right, well, let's do this just to see what happens. I'm going to play a location, the big top. Yeah, the big top. It is a master location, and the fright level is 10. With the team the way it is right now, if I were to send everybody, including the mystery machine, I would have minus 11. But playing that site is one of my actions, so we turn to you if you have an action to play.
I'm gonna see where you go, I think, or how you go where you go before I do anything. So
okay. You're gonna pass on that one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, why not? I'm gonna move. Everybody's gonna get in the mystery machine. They're gonna leave the malt shop and head to the big top. And like I said before, but the team, the characters themselves are minus 10, which is enough, just the right number to get the big top fright level down to 0. Add the mystery machine in, which is another minus 1. So right now I'm at -1 for fright level. That is my action, so I'll turn to you, sir.
Now I am going to pay 3 Scooby snacks to play the Frankenstein's monster. And Frankenstein's monster raises the fright level of a location by 3 while in play.
Yikes, so I'm at 2 right now. Let me think for just another second. Yeah, my hand is not where I want it to be. I will not be able to change that. So you have you scared us off.
Well, Frankenstein's monster is scary.
He is scary. He is. Even the Scooby version is a little disconcerting. So yeah, I'm actually gonna pass. So I'll turn to you if you have any other actions you want to do.
No, I'll just discard Frankenstein's monster then and consider that one successfully defeated.
Yes, you thwarted my investigation. You scared us. We wet our pants. Scooby and Shaggy ran to the nearest restaurant, the nearest malt shop. You got me.
All right.
So if we're both passing, then it's off to you for your Mystery Incorporated.
Let's. So we both need to draw up to 8 again. I have 7. I assume you didn't want to discard anything. I had 7, and I don't want to discard.
You know, I already drew my card, so that kind of
Okay.
negates what I will discard later, but not right now.
Okay. Okay, and then I need to jump my Scooby snacks back up to 10. Okay. So I am going to play a familiar sight for my first action, Sunken Ship.
All right. Sunken ship. So that's printed value of 11. I'm going to refer to the instructions for just a second here.
Sure.
Did your instruction booklet immediately fall apart?
You know, it hasn't, but I've been very careful because you all said how bad they were about coming apart.
Yeah,
I've actually been really careful with it. So it's still intact. But I can also see it wouldn't take much for that to change.
all right. I'm going to play on your site the sunken ship. I'm going to play the creeper for 3. And as you can guess, when the creeper comes into play, you may take 2 Scooby snacks from your opponent. So I'm going to go up to 9. And that takes you down just a few, right? Where are you at? 8 now?
That puts me at 8.
Okay. And then his fright level modifier is +3. So the printed value on the sunken ship is 11. The creeper adds another 3. That makes the fright value right now at 14.
Okay. Well, I believe that means I'm going to send everybody to Hermit of the Hill Cave. We'll scoop that one over here. I'm going to send all 5 and the mystery machine to Hermit of the Hill Cave. Its fright level is 12, and I'm coming with -11 right now.
Okay, so you're at a disadvantage of just one right now.
Correct.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I know I just asked you this, but your Scooby snack level?
8.
8. Okay, still pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't spent any. I've just lost 2 that you stole.
You're a savvy shopper. You're not spending your stuff.
Yeah, my wife takes care of that.
Well, I'm gonna play this while I've got the points. This is Ghost Soup, an event card for 3 Scooby snacks. That takes me down to 6. Play this card to force your opponent to lose up to -3 Scooby snacks immediately. So that takes you down to 5, if my math is correct.
Oh, wow, you're just knocking them out. Scooby's going to go hungry. That takes me down to 5. And I'm going to, so it's back to me. So I'm going to have to play this before I don't have any Scooby snacks left. I am going to play Yacht for 1 Scooby snack, and that lowers the fright level at a location by 1 or -1. Yeah.
All right, so help me with the math here.
That means I've got just enough to do it.
Just enough.
At
Okay.
12, that makes it 11, and then I have -11.
Okay. Wow. I have to give you this one. I didn't scare you off.
Oh, but almost. But you took all my food. That means I ain't gonna be able to do anything to stop you next turn. I'm only going into that with 4 now.
All right, and you said that's a minor location, right?
It is. That's a big 3.
Oof.
What'd I do with my checklist?
That's going to put you at an advantage
There we go.
a little bit. I've only eliminated 2 so far.
Well, I've eliminated 1, but this will get it up to 4. Let's see. There's What a Night for a Night. That's a good one. What a Night for a Night. And then the Backstage Rage. And then Go Away Ghost Ship.
Hmm.
And I think that'll do it.
Only 11 options. You want to make a guess?
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. Well, no.
Okay, I was going to say, if it's getting too late for you, that'll help speed up the game a little bit.
Well, it would speed it up a lot if I guessed right.
Well, yes, that would take care of it, wouldn't it?
Okay, so that puts that one flipped over. And then see where we're at. Okay. So does that put us to discard phase?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, I am not going to discard anything. And I guess now we just draw back up to 8.
Well, before we
You
do that, I'm
discard.
going to discard here. I'm going to discard 1. That leaves me with 5
Okay.
in my hand. And then we'll
Now we draw.
we'll move on. Okay, so 5. So I'll draw 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm the Mystery Incorporated player now.
So you
So
get 10 Scooby snacks.
Go back up to 10. Oof, got some choices here.
Oh, good. That's good.
Whew. All right. Well, I can't do that. All right, well, just because I can, I'm going to put this site out here. My team is still at the big top there. I didn't move them. But I'm going to bring out Funland. That is a master location with a fright level of 10, but my guys are all still at the big top, which is another master location for 10.
Okay. I am not going to do anything right now.
Okay.
Mostly because I don't have a lot to spend.
Got to see how it plays out before you try anything, right?
I don't have a choice.
Okay. In that case, everyone's going to stay at the big top, the master location with a fright level, printed fright level of 10. I've got the entire team plus the mystery machine, so we know I've got negative 11. So I'm at negative 1 right now.
Okay.
They're not moving, so I haven't spent an action yet.
Right.
But you know what? I'm going to pass. I want to see what you have going on there. What do you have up your sleeve there?
I am going to play the Creeper.
Okay.
You know, that's adds 3 to the fright value.
Yeah.
And I get to take 2 Scooby snacks. So it ends up just costing me 1, basically.
Yeah.
2 back. So
from 13, and I'm at negative 11. So I need 2 more. I'm going to pay 2 Scooby snacks. Takes me down to 6. Mr. Carswell is going to join the team. He's going to help us out. Mr. Carswell lowers the fright level of a location by 2 while in play. So I now have minus 13. I'm right at 0.
I'm going to pay 2 Scooby snacks.
Oh!
And play We're Glad to Get Rid of Him. Force opponent to discard a friend in play.
Is that an event?
Yeah, looks like.
It's the kind of yellowy, orangish?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to pay 2 Scooby snacks
And
to play haha, you rished me. You rished me. Scooby talk there.
Uh-huh.
To pay 2, play this card to cancel the effect of an event card played by your opponent last action. So Mr. Carswell is going to stay in
stick
play.
around. All right, my friend, you did it then. That's all I had.
You can pass? Okay.
Got nothing else.
A master location, so not the big haul that I was hoping for, but a card is a card. So I'll flip this one over. That's Snow Ghost. I'll take that one off my list. Down there at the bottom. Site is upside down. It's been successfully investigated. We were brave enough to handle it. I have no other actions. I'll pass.
Let's see. I'm not going to discard anything.
Oh, yeah, I've got 5. So no discard from me either.
All right, then we'll swap it around,
All right, we'll draw up to 8.
and I'll replenish my Scooby snacks that were obliterated.
Come on, villain card. Okay.
There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I need to draw my 2 cards to get up to 8. Oh, that's a good one. Okay. From So the minor locations can't be played on the major. They can only be played on the master. Is that right? Yeah, because it names it. It names it.
If it names it, yeah, you gotta have that one.
All right, I'm going to play major location, the big top.
I know it well. The big top, well, I'm gonna pass.
And I will move. Let's see. I'm going to take. I'm going to take everybody to the costume tent. It is an 11 fright level, and I'm bringing -11.
Yeah, you're right. Right at 0. And guess what? This is not a villain's hand that I have right now. I've got nothing to stop you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that
Well,
that hurts.
yeah, in that case, it's time for 2 more to come off.
Yes.
Right. We're going to shave off decoy for a dog napper. And foul play in Funland. All right. Anything to discard?
Yeah, yeesh. I should have been looking at this a little better. I'm going to discard this one and keep that. Discard that. Got to make room for some better cards here. Hmm. Yeah, I'll dump that one too. An event there. Check out this event. and 2 locations, which I'll just toss away. But I have a hunch. It costs 2 Scooby snacks. And it says, name a card. Look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. If the named card is there, discard it. Return the others to the top of the deck in any order. I wonder, does that mean I get to choose the order? Like if I'm playing this against you and I just looked at the top 3 of your cards, do I get to choose the order or do you? Because if you get to choose the order, that card is more beneficial to you than anything else, right?
Yeah, I threw that card. That was one of the first cards I discarded. I threw that card away very quickly. Even if you pull it off and you guess the card right, it's not very useful. And what are the odds that you're going to guess it are not good?
Yeah, unless there's a card that I suppose if there's a card that lets you look at your opponent's deck, like the top of their deck, so you know that something is there, and then you could play this as like a combo off of that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, I don't know that I would play that one.
It didn't seem like a very good card to me. Okay. Well, I'm going to discard one. It's just rope and plank bridge. You play it on a Chippkin Coop. You may discard this card to search your play deck for the Hermit of the Hill Cove location, or if you already have that location, you can play this on Hermit of Hill Cave, and that lowers the fright level of that location by 1. And these don't cost anything to play. These particular items, they make these are for the minor locations.
Mm-hmm.
They either allow you to find a minor location if you've already got the major or master, or they allow you to bring the fright level down at no cost. So they're good if you've got those already.
It's good if you've got a plan and you can execute that. But yeah, are you turning back to me? And I am the Mystery Incorporated player.
That is correct. I need to draw 2 cards and
because I discarded. I have 5 in my hand, so I'm going to draw 3 to take me back up to 8. And I will increase my Scooby snacks back up to 10. That feels good. Let's take a look at what we have here real quick. Oh.
Oh, man.
All right, first move is mine.
Hey, David, let me ask you this being technical on the mechanics. So when I investigate that site, does everybody stay there, or do they automatically go to the malt shop?
Now, that's a good question, and I believe they stay at that location. They don't just default back to the malt shop, because there are cards that move people back to the malt shop.
Right. I don't know that I think it's in most of the time it wouldn't matter because we'd be able to move anyway. But yeah, there's cards that take people out of the team so they can't contribute.
Right.
Yeah.
So I assumed that you stay at the location. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, because I guess in the rest of everything you do, moving anywhere is an action, so you'd have to have a reciprocal action. So yeah, I think that's probably correct.
Okay. We'll play it like that. If we find out something different later on, we learn something new. All right, my turn. Action is mine. Gonna do some low-hanging fruit here, and I'm just gonna move the team to Funland. I still have out here from a previous turn. Funland, as you know, has a printed fright value of 10. With the whole gang and the mystery machine, I am at -11 bravery, so I am 1 ahead. Well, 2 ahead because 0 still counts as a win, but right now the fright level is at -1, and I'll turn it to you if you have any actions you want to take.
I'm going to play your favorite card.
Oh boy,
Should
Kevin
I-
Morris.
This one is probably going to be just as bad because you just saw it. It's the other copy of the Creeper.
Oh sure.
And he adds 3 to the fright value, and he costs 3 Scooby snacks, but he takes 2 away from you.
Right. So I'm down to 8.
And I am only down 1, so I still got 9 Scooby snacks. And the Creeper now jacks that fright value up to 13.
13, and I am at -11, so that's not enough. So I'm going to pay 3, and I was really hoping that this card would come up. This is one that I put in here. It's 3 Scooby snacks. I'll take that off right now. This is the lasso, and I wish Steven was here for this. The description is play lasso on a location. Discard to move all of the members of Mystery Incorporated from this location to another legal location. So I'm paying 3 to play it on Funland, and I'm going to discard it right away to move everyone to the sunken ship. And the reason I like that so much is because I don't know if you remember, if you saw the very first episode on Alien Investigations, I was so proud of myself. I made this deck that I called the Move deck, and it had all these move card travel plans and or travel arrangements and all these other driving and all these other things. And I was gonna be investigating, 2 sites at a turn, and I had all these delusions of grandeur about how I was just gonna dominate the game. And I always vowed to try and remake that deck with all the knowledge I've gained since then. But I saw that lasso, and it took me back to that travel deck. So I'm glad I got to play that and move my guys away from the Creeper over to the sunken ship. So the sunken ship is a major location. The fright level is 11. My bravery is -11. So I'm hovering right at 0. So I'll turn to you, sir.
I guess I would have to come up with something else. I believe that'll do it. I don't have anything else.
No actions. You're going to pass? Whew. All right. A major location. I will turn it upside down since it's been successfully investigated. And a major location gets me 2 clues. So let's do those right now. Make sure I got just one there. Okay. Bedlam in the big top. And, oh, jeepers, it's the Creeper. That's an appropriate one to reveal since the Creeper was just trying to scare me off. Now I've done 5. And while there's still a lot to guess, I'm just going to do it just to move the game along a little bit here. I'm going to ask, is your mystery card? Let's just start at the top. Mystery mask mix up.
No.
It is
It's
not. Okay. Well, I get to knock that off mine, but now you get to reveal a clue from your subset there.
So I don't ask, I just flip it over, right?
Yep, you flip it over. It's a gimme.
A night of fright is no delight.
No, sir, it is not.
You know what we could do? We could even play this game with those rules. You have to guess. If and that way you would move a lot faster through it.
Oh yeah, you burn pretty quick.
Yeah, if we played that way, you definitely would. Okay. So let's see that.
I see we have another viewer. Oh, no, they just dropped. Well, we keep getting someone who pops in and leaves right away. So,
They might be having technical difficulties.
oh, yeah, that could be the case. And that if that's the case, I know who it might be. But if you're not watching this live, if you're watching the recorded version, thank you for and foremost, thank you for watching. If you like this and you want to see more, definitely like the video, make a comment there. Let me know that you enjoyed it. I like this game. I'd love to play it again. I just need to know who out there wants to see more, would like to see that, or even play a game live on the channel. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe. That's my obligatory YouTube content creator pitch there. Where were we?
And right now, we even have some, stuff that we could open to, make it more exciting potentially.
Yeah, let's say that.
It's not like the X-Files where where we've got mountains of that stuff. This stuff's hard to come by.
It is hard to come by. Yeah, that's why I was so surprised that you were able to get as many of the Alien expansion boosters that you did. Not a sealed box, but what was it, like 20 some odd booster packs or something like that?
What's weird? I don't even know how many come in a booster because it doesn't say on the box. Do you know how many?
Not off the top of my head, no.
All the X-Files would say it. I think it had 26 in it, but it was pretty full.
That's cool. So you got quite a rare find on that. I remember when you told me that, it's like, I would have bought that if I had seen it online, but
and it came with this. I don't know if I got they sent me.
that's
Have you got that? Seen that? Let's see if my camera frozen.
A little closer to your, yeah, there you go. That's that promotional comic book that that came out to promote the Alien expansion, right? Do I remember that correctly? Yep. And those are also very rare. You see those on eBay, people selling them for a pretty large price. So yeah, you got quite a good package there.
Yeah, they hooked me up.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and apparently I need to refine my saved searches because I didn't. That one slipped right past me. I would have scored it.
Didn't you get the starter decks of The Truth Is Out There though? Didn't you get that was that you that got that starter deck box?
No, I wish.
Okay, I'm like, because that's like the only sealed thing I don't have. It's X-Files. I had a Truth Is Out There starter deck box and I opened it, but that's the only thing I still don't have that's sealed. So.
Oh, that's part of the museum piece, the collection there.
Like
so I gotta ask, and I should save this to the end, but I'm gonna ask: do you have like is this where you're at? Is this like your man cave? Do you have like a bookshelf or some kind of glass menagerie type display case for all this cool stuff? Or
right now, this is my basement, and my basement's finished, and behind me here is like the home theater. It's a 77-inch OLED, and then that's the fireplace where all the toy soldiers are. Now, if you see that kind of brown stand thing back through there in the hallway. Mm-hmm. If you go around that corner, there's a closet that has all my stuff. But if you go over this way, there is. We bought this house about 6 years ago. There's what used to be a workout room in there, and we haven't. I mean, it's not like got the rubber floor where you can drop weights on it and everything.
Oh, okay.
And we haven't changed it yet. We're going to split it into 2 rooms because it runs like the whole length of the house. It's a very big room. It's like 60 feet long. Wow. We're going to split it, and one of them's going to be a guest bedroom, and the other one's going to be. It's going to pretty much be. I'm going to X-Files theme probably the room, but it's going to have all the stuff in it. And it's going to be. I've got 5 uncut sheets that I'm framing, going to hang in there, and they're going to be in display. I'm going to put lights on them and everything. It's going to be nuts.
That's going to be awesome. Oh wow.
Yeah. And I'm going to do a Scooby shrine probably too. Now that I've got it, the Scooby stuff is new for me.
Right.
I've always been an X-Files and Superman guy. I've got Superman statues and X-Files statues. I've got, the X-Files stuff I've got. I got a mountain of that stuff.
Hmm. But I don't know. Do you have the X-Files comics? Did you grab any of those?
I have every X-Files comic ever made.
Well, there you go. Wow.
And
Can I come?
quite a few of them graded 9.8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was a comic collector before. Well, let's see. I probably got into comics a few years before X-Files came out.
Mm.
Yeah, I was probably around 14 years old, 13, something like that, when I started collecting comics, and then X-Files came out a few years later.
I'll
So
tell you.
I was primarily a big Superman collector of comics. I actually got really big into it at one point. I was spending 5 figures on old 1940s.
Oh,
comics.
wow.
Yeah, graded comics. And I finally, once 3 children showed up, I was like, yeah,
Yeah, your priorities had
I
to
gotta let
change
this
there.
go.
Yeah.
I'm spending way too much. I basically sold it all and put it into my oldest daughter's college. Well, I didn't sell it all, but I sold a lot of it and put it into my oldest daughter's college fund, basically.
Right.
So far, he hasn't had to pay anything.
Well, that's good. That's good. It kind of investment kind of paid off. And I'll
Yeah.
tell you the same old sob story that you've probably heard. When I was a much younger man and I had lots of disposable income, I collected all the X-Files comic books. I had all the like the non-gaming X-Files trading cards, the
Mm-hmm.
parallel sets, the foils, all that stuff. I was super into it. And I kind of fell on hard times and I had to liquidate the stuff. And it breaks my heart because now I'm back into the X-Files, watching the show, I'm playing the game, and I wish I had those comic books. I wish I had those cards. That would be so cool. But
I'll dig it out. I'll dig it out for you sometime and show it to you. But yeah, I've got a lot of the cards too. I probably have. I don't have every chase card, and I don't have every parallel set, but I definitely have all the basic sets for everything. And I've got a lot of holograms and a lot of that stuff. I've got all the original 3-pack VHS tapes.
oh, sure, yeah.
Got those. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff.
That's awesome.
The toys, the movie toys were crazy because there was like a lot of just very tiny little differences.
Oh, sure.
And I think I've got 18 or 22 of those, and they're all different, something like that.
Wow.
I got stacks of this stuff, and I can't wait to build the room. I just finished building the fireplace in my bedroom, so now I can.
Now you're free to move to whatever project you want.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want a tour of that.
it'll be cool. Yeah, I'm excited to do it.
Very cool. Right on. Well, let's get back to the game, and I think we are switching places. Well, we should do discard first.
I think we did do this. I did discard.
I did not, because I've got a lot of cards here that are just not helping me out. So I'm gonna get rid of this one. A bunch of locations, which normally you would be very excited to have a lot of locations, but they're not really helping me out a lot. Yeah, get rid of that one just to free up some extra slots here in my hand.
Yeah, I'm going to discard a minor location too, because those can be, they're not automatic plays.
Right. Yeah, I'm getting rid of the Menagerie, Hall of Mirrors, and Hermit of the Hill Cave.
No.
I haven't even run into the barn yet, I don't think. And I don't seem to be getting the cards I need to modify my my bravery to get up over 11. So I'm probably just gonna have to go with the easy ones here. All right. That having been said, we'll draw back up to 8 and switch over.
All right, and I'm back up to 10 Scooby snacks. I didn't help myself any there, really. Okay. Let's see. And I currently have Sunken Ship in play.
Oh, and available to investigate.
Yes. And I'm going to put the big top in to play. And that will be my first action. And I guess
I had a little.
at the previous site they investigated.
I had a little bit of a distraction there. You moved your team to Sunken Ship, right? You
No,
moved the
I have not. Sunken Ship was already in play, and I put the big top in play. That was my action. I haven't moved them. They're still at the last site they investigated. I haven't moved them anywhere yet.
I will pass.
Okay, let's see. I am going to move the entire team to the master location, the big top. It takes 10, and I am coming with negative 11.
All right. Hi, and this is another great card that I was really hoping would come up because of its close relation to the X-Files and a mechanic that doesn't get nearly enough airtime. I'm going to pay 4 Scooby Snacks, takes me down to 1 to play Spooky Spaceship. The Spooky Spaceship, play this card on a location, discard to bury one of your opponent's Mystery Incorporated members at this location, 6 cards down in their deck, face up. Member comes back into play at the malt shop when it's picked up during normal hand refilling. So yeah, I'm gonna play this on your location. Did we lose my camera?
It came back. We lost it for a second, but it's back.
Okay.
Does it say who picks which one? Which member?
There I am. You know what? Play this card on a location, discard to bury one opponent's Mystery Incorporated members at this location, 6 card down. It doesn't say yes or no. It doesn't say that I pick or you pick. That having been said, with precedents from another game that very similar to this, the person who it's being played against gets to choose unless it says your choice, right?
Okay.
Do you agree with that one?
I do. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, so I will let you decide. I would have chosen Fred, but and I would encourage.
Well, Elma or Fred would have been the one to pick because they're -3.
Yeah, but if you get to pick, then I'll let you decide.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Daphne.
Daphne.
Hers is just -1, and her game effect only allows you to play a card for free. Whereas Shaggy's the other -1, but his game effect gives you 3 Scooby Snacks, so that's not much costs more than that. So I think
Right.
6 down. Is that right?
Correct. 6 down, card is face up.
5, 6. Okay. There's Daphne. I'm just going to set her token. I'm going to leave her token there so I remember to, or I'm going to put it on the mystery machine so I remember to put it back.
Sure.
So now I'm at the big top, which is a 10, and I'm at -9, 10 with the mystery machine. So I'm at 10 still.
So you're right at 0.
Correct.
Which is enough to win.
Still, though, that's a pretty powerful card.
Yeah.
To take somebody, especially if you have. I'm sure there's probably 2 of them in there. You could potentially really do some damage with 2 of them. Let's see. Okay. So is the big top successfully investigated?
Yeah, I don't have anything else to play against you. So if you have the bravery to defeat it, you get to
flip that bad boy over, and we'll turn over another one. Haunted house hang up. Okay. And I will do the same thing you did.
Oh, you're going to guess?
Yeah, I'll do the same thing. And I will
Okay.
do the same way you did. I'll start at the top. Mystery mask mix-up.
My mystery is the Mystery Max mask mix-up. Yeah.
Wow.
Foiled again by starting at the top.
I don't even know how I even. Well, I just turned mine over. It was completely random. It was just totally random.
So, if I could make a guess, you haven't revealed it yet, right?
No.
I think yours is a gaggle of galloping ghosts.
No.
No. Okay, good. I don't feel as bad.
No, you wouldn't have guessed it right. No. Do you want to know, or just you happy to not know?
No, yeah. Well, what was it? Just out of curiosity.
Haunted house hang up. It was the one I just checked off the list.
Oh, okay, right. Kind of up toward the top, but not all the way at the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
My next one I probably would have just started being systematic, and my next guess would have been Scooby Doo and a Mummy too. Just started at the top and moved down. So it would have taken me a couple turns to get there, but yeah. So hey, post game wrap up. Your first game of Scooby Doo. What did you think?
I like it. And in mechanics, like I say, if you play X-Files, this is going to be very familiar.
Yeah, it's a breeze to get used to.
But you're going to find a lot less busy work.
Right.
One of the things I really do like about this that is definitely different than the X-Files, pretty much everything that's game effect wise ends at the end of a turn or an investigation. You're not carrying over to the next one, trying to, keep up with all those logistics. I mean, it's fun in the X-Files because of the need to pay for expensive things, especially as a conspiracy player. But the way you pay for things with the Scooby snacks on this, it's so much easier. It's just you start with the 10, you be reasonable with your 10, so when you carry over to the villain, and then you start back to 10, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, I do like that. You're not. I mean, like there's been plenty of times when I've been caught without resource points or conspiracy points, and I just can't generate them for whatever reason. My hand doesn't allow it, or maybe there's some kind of penalty played against me or something like that. But there's been lots of times where I just have not had the resource or conspiracy pool comparing Scooby to X-Files. Or even you're not able to pay for a site, or something like that, or you don't have any sites in your hand. At
Mhm.
least with this one, if you fail a site, it's not a complete loss. The site is still out there. So if,
Yeah.
if you run dry, if you've got a dead hand uh, with nothing you can play, at least that site is still there. You can make an attempt at
Yeah,
something.
and you're not so with the X-Files 2, you've got all these different skill checks you got to do. This is
Hmm.
essentially like one skill check, and it's the same for everything. And one of the things too that I really like about this that's different than the X-Files, the villains, it does not matter. They can be played on anything, and
Oh,
I never liked that about the X-Files. The adversaries, I think, should just be able to be played. I think that game would be so fun if you could just play any adversary if you could afford it. That
yeah,
would
just pay the cost.
boom, and then we talk about combat and all that other stuff in X-Files. You'd have it all the time if you could do that.
Hmm.
You'd be able to do and really use that stuff. And I get the dynamic of that game, why it's that way, but you know, some combat's fun. And more of it. And like I said, in this, um, it's just simplified. And
Hmm.
we're talking through the game and we're going step by step and all that. But if you played this game, I can see this moving quickly. This
Yeah.
could go pretty quick, pretty fast. I mean, if you're not, we're just, we know what to do and we're not doing it for, people watching sake and trying to help people learn how to do it. You can move through this game pretty fast.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, we kind of play for the audience there to try and
Mhm.
get people interested in it, and the same is true with the X Files. We talk through each phase and that sort of thing. But with this one, yeah, a couple seasoned players who know what they're doing, uh, you could really play like some quick games. I commented to Steven when we played that this checklist has 8 columns, and so I think that means that they kind of anticipated people playing
Mhm.
quick
Yeah,
games.
I remember you saying that. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Uh, so yeah, I think a couple seasoned players, if in the future, a couple games down the road, we decide, what, we're expert players for this. Uh,
That's
we're
just
not
play.
going to, yeah, we're not going to talk through everything. We'll read a game effect, uh, just because we're not in person right across from the table from each other, so it's not always as easy
Mhm.
uh, to remember. But yeah, we could just say right at the beginning of the game, this is for expert players. We just want to see how fast we can get through a game like this.
Well, even this game, I'd never played it. You played it once. Uh, you came on about 2 hours ago, and we're talking through the setup and stuff. So
Hmm.
this game, even that way, it didn't even talking through it, and even the spiel about building a room and all this stuff. It still only took about an hour and a half. So
Yeah,
it's definitely wasn't terrible at
yeah,
all.
yeah.
Now,
So
Steve,
yeah, this is a fun one to just kind of have on hand, and I think I've said this on other things, but now that I'm actually playing the game, uh, and it's not just speculation, I've played a couple games. I think this is a great entry level type game, especially for kids. The IP is Scooby Doo, which gets rebooted like every 3-4 years. It's like the cast is still the same, but they get like a whole new set of movies or a new cartoon comes out stuff. So it's constantly regenerating its audience. So everybody knows Scooby Doo, even if you weren't a fan. You know what Scooby Doo is. You know
Mhm.
what the deal is, uh, especially for kids. Uh, the IP is fun and familiar. The rules are pared down enough that they
Mhm.
can get it pretty quickly. The math is fairly simple, uh,
Mhm.
uh, but it teaches a lot of the a lot of the very common things that you need to know about playing a CCG. Uh, the play area setup, and
Mhm.
draw pile, discard. The guess part of it is unique to X Files and Scooby Doo, but so the win conditions are a little different from what you would see in like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic or something. But moving cards around and playing them at different places, and trying to think about your deck and that kind of stuff. I think this is a great one if you're looking for an entry level game to get your kids excited about it. Or maybe you've got somebody a little bit older like us, grew up with Scooby Doo,
Mhm.
and you want to introduce them to gaming. I think this is a good one to get people excited about it. So I think it's a great game, and if it does take off, which like I said, I always have delusions of grandeur like this. I'm bringing Scooby Doo back, and this is going to be nationwide. It's going to be huge, and we're going to have world championship tournaments, and uh, likely not to happen. But I'll tell you what, if your kids like Scooby Doo, they like this game. You've got a rainy Saturday afternoon. The game is simple enough that you could
Mm.
sit down with your kids and make up some of your own cards just for fun, and make them on the computer and play them and stuff. Because the rules are simple enough that you can pull off something easy like that if you've got a good idea. You just watched the movie, and you think, oh, wouldn't it be like a funny card if such and such character
Mm.
did this? You could easily, sit down with your kids and make some of your own cards and grow the game on your own. I think it's simple enough that you can pull something like that off.
Yeah, it's a lot. The card, that's another advantage. These cards are so much less busy than the
Yeah.
X Files cards. Man, the X Files cards.
Well, yeah, you were saying with adversaries, it's tough to play those adversaries, and I've had hands with like 2, 3 adversaries, and I thought I had my opponent on the ropes, but they didn't play a site that had the keywords and the activators and this and that, and or I had the activator, but here comes this keyword and it negates this kind of thing, and your adversary is just gone like that. Uh, so yeah, I get what you're saying about adversaries. You get a lot more combat if it wasn't so locked in
I
on
actually
on that.
saw some guys one time that played the X Files without activators on the adversaries. It was
Oh,
just custom rules, and they didn't because they were so frustrated by their inability to do it. They were like, "No, you can play an adversary on any site." Yeah.
okay. So you've seen it in action, and you think
Mhm.
it's a
Well,
it's a good change to the game.
I mean, it makes your deck a little more adversary heavy, obviously, and combat card heavy. But at the same
Right.
time, they didn't change the costs and anything, and a lot of those adversaries are expensive. So
Hmm.
it doesn't mean you could just. But you do. I mean, how many times have we played an X Files game and you have a whole phase of the turn for healing and it doesn't get used? How many times have you even played a whole game and that whole phase just be skipped over just because there's no combat, there's no adversaries going on? I mean, we've seen it more lately, but that's because we're specifically
We're
trying.
trying. We're trying to do it. Yeah, we're kind of forcing the issue a little bit
Yeah.
with that. So yeah, I hear you. Some of that game can be a little limiting. Don't get me wrong. I love the X-Files CCG.
It's
I
a
think it's
great
a
game.
lot of fun. I think it's well thought out. And I said this on a show a long time ago, but it's still true. It really sets the bar really high. It's really up there because it's very well thought out. Uh, the mechanics all play really well. There's cards that are ambiguous, and you got to kind of they're left to interpretation. We kind of have to just decide on what we think it might mean, but for the most part, it plays really well. The cards interact really well, and
It's not a beginner's
uh,
game, though.
it is not a beginner's game. The
Not
difficulty level is way up there.
you need to have the ability. You need to have pretty good strategic ability and some abstract thinking
Yeah,
capability to do that, and you really uh, need to be able to put a lot of time in learning those cards.
yeah.
I think that's as
Um,
much it as anything because there's so many, which is kind of funny to say when you're thinking about things like Pokemon and Magic. Compared to those, there's nothing. Uh, but the the dynamics and the interaction are so complicated compared to other games that you really need to know those cards.
Yeah, yeah, you have to have that great memory, like Stephen and Guillaume and some of the players we've seen. They know the cards left, right, up, down, all the way to Sunday. Um, uh, but yeah, if you're not real familiar with cards, and you'll see that in some of my early games on the channel where you know, I had all the excitement and energy to play the game, but I did not have the deep knowledge, and it made it kind of rough, uh, and it still kind of is, you know.
My game, I haven't played a ton of games against Steven, but my early ones, I got dealt with pretty handily.
Yeah,
But,
you
but
know,
I've gotten
quite a
pretty
few
close.
players really hung me out to dry.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, with that
You
they
know,
mopped the floor with me.
it's
Uh,
been pretty close here lately, though.
yeah, well, you know, and
It's
you
getting
know,
better.
at the time of this recording, you played a game just the night before on the Alien Investigations channel. Unfortunately, I don't remember the episode, but the episode number.
It's all
I
through
want
the Chaco house, though. I don't remember the number either, but it's 40 something. It's like
I
47.
want to say it's 46 because I think I remember Steven saying episode 47 this Saturday or something like that. But
Okay.
it's right up there. But yeah, you played a really great game. You made Steven work for it the whole way. I think that was a 3-hour game,
And
and
it
not
was, yeah, and it was one or two little things. If I, it's like if I had one more resource point or one more conspiracy point, it would make all the difference in the world.
boy, if I had a dime for every time I said that in my head, if only I had one more point, or if only I had that one card. Um, but yeah, it's a great game. I think that
It's
is really high on the scale of difficulty. It's not an entry level game.
it's very
Scooby
well
Doo,
balanced. It's very well
it
balanced, though.
is. It
I mean,
is.
there's almost some games, and Magic was notorious for this. There'd be everybody that's ever played Magic back in the day knows Channel Fireball. Everybody does.
Okay.
It was basically undefeatable. It was so bad they banned it from
Oh,
tournament
really?
because Channel Fireball kept it was Channel and Fireball, two cards. You put them together, and it kept on feeding you more and more damage until you did all 30 damage to your opponent. It was over. So everybody
Wow.
just put Channel Fireball, whatever the max rules. I don't know. It might have been a rule where you can only have two of a card. I don't remember now. That was 25 years ago. But uh, it was so bad they banned it from tournament play because it was they just missed a lot of that stuff, and you don't see that with X-Files. There's nothing in there. It's like, oh yeah, you do this and it's over. Nobody can defeat it. I've never seen that happen.
I've only seen that once, and it's not like one card that like ruins it for everybody. It's not like too close to the truth or unexpected call. I mean, those are kind of gotcha cards, and they can kind of turn the tide of a game, but they don't necessarily win it
Mm-hmm.
for you. Um, but there is a strategy that used to be played uh, where you go location heavy,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Speed
and
decks. I mean,
yeah, a speed deck where you play like 3 locations, 4 locations. Uh, if you've got Mulder paying for them and some of your other agents paying for them, you can get those out there, and your opponent can't. I mean, you just can't afford. Getting back to the adversaries, even if you can get an adversary to match up those activators, you can't afford it. You can afford to hit maybe 1, 2
yeah.
sites, but if they've got 4 sites on the table, they're asking questions left and right, and you're hosed.
And if you're bluffing them, paying, they just don't. Yep, leave them out there, and then your bluffs are tied up.
Right.
They
Yeah.
can't do anything. That's one thing I like about this. Nothing's tied up. At the
Yeah.
end of that turn, it's all gone.
It's almost like a reset button,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of the sites, the
Mm-hmm.
persistent sites. I like that. That's what I've been trying to incorporate into my fan made expansion of the X Files.
Well, yeah, it's great because
Is keeping sites in place. So even if you lost out on that investigation, you get another chance at it
Mhm.
next turn. So that's that's something I'm hoping to introduce. So that's an aspect of this that I like. That even if you didn't successfully do a site, it's not like wah, and you're out of luck. And hopefully you get a site in your next hand, kind of a thing. You can continue to play them until you're successful, and then you build off them after that. So um, that's something I really like about this game too.
Yeah, it's
And there's some fun cards. The spooky spaceship, I was particularly proud of myself for finding that one. And
that lasso card was great.
the lasso card, yeah, I'm trying to figure out, maybe someone out there is playing the game or has the cards, between the lasso card that's, I moved my team to a site. You played a villain on it that I couldn't do anything about, but I had another site in play and just moved my entire team over to a site where there wasn't a problem, and it worked for me. And then Fred's game effect, which is once per game, you may have all of your members of Mystery Incorporated. You may move all of the members of Mystery Incorporated to Fred's location. So you could essentially split the team, or there's a couple cards that as a penalty, the effect moves them back to the malt shop, and you lose out on that fright value or the bravery value. But I for some reason I really like those cards that let you move your agents around, and in this case move the Mystery Incorporated guys around. So I see that, and the gears start to turn. It's like, okay, what other cards are out there that I can, maybe potentially play two sites, go to two locations and reveal a bunch of cards and that kind of stuff. So there's still a lot of strategy. There's a lot of combos that you can possibly turn. So yeah, I mean it's cool. I mean it's simplified, but it's still got strategy to it and deck building. You still have to be smart with your deck building, and there's cards that you can use that will result in combos or will put your opponent at a disadvantage. So I think it's got just the right level of strategy for an entry level game.
Absolutely.
To make it easy and fun. So here's the question. The X-Files CCG, they were just starting a project back in 96, 97, they realized that the game was super complicated and they needed to, I don't want to say dumb it down, they needed to kind of lighten the rules and lighten the burden of the game. And we're trying to come up with a more entry level version of it. Rumor is, and maybe this is corroborated, or maybe I just put it together on my own, but I believe this Scooby Doo framework was going to be that new X-Files entry level version. Can you see X-Files being played like this with this game and these rules?
Yeah, or something very close.
Yeah, I mean,
it would. Yeah, I mean, because so much of this is already like that. So you'd have obviously you wouldn't have Mystery Inc. You'd have your agents, and they'd be limited just like they already are. And they would probably do away with all the. I'm guessing they would do away with all the aspects of the agents. They would just be one number like these.
Mm-hmm.
And then sites, it wouldn't be all those different aspects, and you might still be asking questions instead of just automatically turning things over, but every site would yield that, or ask a question, or instead of having to make a +4 computer and then get a result question, just whatever different site, like if you investigated this site, it gives you this question, but it's just if you investigate, if you just hit the number, since there's so many more things in the X-Files, like you can still keep the 41 whatever possibilities potentially, but the sites, they would yield what they yield, and just when you get it, it does it. You don't have to do particular modifiers or anything like that, or skill checks rather. I could see it. I could see it, and then I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean, imagine the villains on this are adversaries. Take away all prerequisites and all that. Get rid of all the keywords and all that. And yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a similar game, not like exactly the same, but I think it would be. I think they could have done it and probably brought more people into the game. It would have been very interesting to see how that would have affected the market.
Because I actually collected the game when it first came out. I grew up in nowhere. I grew up in a place called Harlan. If you've ever seen Justified, you've heard of it, but on that show, that's not it. It's not like that. It's much worse. You can't drive 20 minutes to Lexington from Harlan to get lunch like they do in that show. It's 2.5 hours away.
Oh wow, yeah, you were out there, huh?
I was an hour from an interstate in any direction.
Oh wow.
So it's right in the middle of Appalachia. So we had this little comic store, and the guy who owned it, he knew I was an X-Files guy. I always got the X-Files stuff from him and stuff. And he asked me, he's like, "Hey, there's this game coming out. Do you want it?" And I did. I got it. I ordered a couple of boxes. I think I probably I bought multiple starter decks and all that. Somehow, I don't remember how that shirt that they give away that Matt and Mike,
Yeah, I've seen it.
the guys, 1,000,000 times and got a bunch of them or whatever. I had one. I don't know what happened to it. I still had it in the plastic. I hadn't even opened it.
Oh wow.
I don't know what happened to it. I don't have it anymore.
That would have been nice for your man
that would have
cave.
been cool. That would have been cool. But yeah, I did not get it that way. That where you find the secret message and send off for it. I know I didn't get it that way, so I'm not sure how I came up with it. But I actually got the cards and didn't play them. I just collected them because I didn't have anybody to play them with. But I had them back then, and then I went to. I moved to Lexington in 2000, right around 2000. And of course, Mike Mackey lives in Lexington.
Mm.
And I remember I had everything except maybe two or three of the Voyager promotion cards. That's the only things I didn't have. And I ended up getting up with him, and he hooked me up with the rest of them. So all the way back then, I had all 3 sets and all the promos.
Oh wow, you were hooked up.
Oh, yeah. The only thing I didn't have was that blank card, which I have now, but back then I didn't have it. But of course, now the real relics have come out. The gilded cards and the pewters and genres cards.
Can you imagine if that game had continued? It hadn't been. They hadn't stopped the project when they did. How much cool stuff would have been coming out
Yeah.
for that? I would have killed someone to get that collector's edition with the pewter card in it. I would literally murder another human being to get that collector's edition. That would have been so cool to have that. And they were just at the beginning. I mean, they made the Mulder and Scully. They were going to make Cigarette Smoking Man. It wouldn't have stopped there if it was popular enough. You would have had a Skinner or a Krychek. That would be so cool.
I've never seen the Scully one. I've only seen I've seen 2 Mulders.
I want to say I've seen a picture of it. No, I haven't seen anyone with it like in hand, but I think I saw a picture and it was terrible. I mean,
they look awful.
Bad news.
They look awful.
but the Mulder one isn't terrible. Another 6 months or so of making a new mold and that kind of stuff, and they could have had it nailed. It would have been a lot of fun to be able to have those. Yeah.
The mold was the wrong way to go. They should have used like what is it, the CNC, thing to cut it out of the metal. That would
Mm-hmm.
that would have yielded a much better. That would have made a much better image on that material.
I have speculated that the company that made those, if they're still in business, companies like that, when they make a mold like that, they don't usually destroy them or get rid of them. They store them someplace because they're so hard to make, especially in that kind of detail for something like that. They're so hard to make. You never know when a customer is going to change their mind and say, "Hey, you remember that X-Files pewter card? Can we still do that?" And they would still have that mold there. And I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. It's like, I wonder if they still have that.
Well, you know what Mackie did. Because you saw it on the interview and everything when he called USPC Games to ask about all. I did that after him.
Oh, really?
I didn't know he had done it. I didn't know, and I actually called, and I was trying to find out, and they're like, "Oh, dude, we don't even know." Nobody knew anything. That was so far after that. I was probably 10 years too late. But
Oh, yeah. Mackie was in the right place at the right time to just get pallets and pallets of that stuff. Um, that's pretty cool. But I digress. We keep talking about the X-Files. Everything keeps kind of leading back to the X-Files. But
that's true.
overall,
we have so much more information about it.
true. We haven't.
Have a little piece that I can give you. Just looking at these, the X-Files cards have numbers and all that. I've noticed that these don't. But
No,
they do have designations that do the original cards, like you said, they're 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and expansion ones are 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, a lot of the first or the starter deck cards, whatever the first ones, they have in the lower left corner, they have a little thing that says first.
Let me see if I can get it on camera.
Yeah. And then the Alien expansion one, I don't even know what that thing is in the lower left-hand corner. It kind of looks like a grasshopper to me.
So this is the first edition, and it's not quite coming through, unfortunately. But
you can see the border of it.
This spooky spaceship is an Alien expansion. It's a little easier to see if I can get it in the right place. I want to say it's a flying saucer.
Yeah.
It
kind of looks like it's a flying saucer sitting, kind of tipped over.
It's kind of canted or tilted to the side there, but I think, and here come the spectacles here to try and see if I can get it. But I'm pretty sure it's a flying saucer from one of the episodes or something. But we may find out later what they intended for that. But yeah, because there are all the guys out there that made this game. They're still around. They're in the community. Hopefully, with enough games played, and I know Mike Perrine from X-Files CCG channel. He's friends with them. Hopefully, we can get these guys in and have them do some commentary while we play a game, or even they've already done interviews, but maybe have a quick talk with them would be kind of cool to get some insight on this and some background. Who knows? Maybe there's a pewter Scooby Doo out there somewhere or something.
Well, and that that as far as the collectibles go on these, obviously they made these these whatever foldable cards or stand up cards.
Oh yeah,
they made those, and then like this this foil Scooby. I don't even know how many. Did they make a foil of all the gang?
They made a foil of all 5 of Mystery Incorporated and the characters that were included in the Alien expansion. I think there's two additional Mystery
Crystal. Apparently, let's see. Whatever.
There's Crystal, and I don't think I have. I think I had to look it up, to be honest with you.
Crystal's a
Crystal.
very powerful card. Now that I look at it, I should have used it. Her thing is -4. The rest of the game, the best you got's Fred at -3 and Velma at -3.
Here, Amber is the other one.
Okay.
Uh,
So there's 7.
and let me see if I can do this justice. I'm going to turn off my virtual backgrounds so I can maybe uh, help some of the viewers here see what these cards look like, or these stand-ups. So this comes in the pack, and you can see it's got the Scooby Doo logo on there, and then the bravery modifier, and then the game effect, and that game effect, the modifier, they're the same as the card, as the actual card. And this is actually a little fold out, and you fold this out and it kind of collapses down on itself, and there's a couple little tabs. When you push it down long enough, the tabs go into a little slot that it's impossible to come across on the camera here, but there's a little slot on each side, and each of these folding pieces kind of nest into that slot. And then here is the actual character, and it's the same artwork that's on the card. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, this is Amber. You can see there. And that's the character on there. And Amber is -3, and the effect, in case anyone's wondering, once per game, you may force your opponent to discard a monster of 3 fright level or less attached to one of your locations. It's not too bad. It's not overpowered or anything, but it would sit. Let me see if I can do this justice. Yeah, it would just sit like that, and kind of give the game a little extra dimension. Kind of a fun thing, and again, for kids that are playing the game, would probably enjoy these little pop-ups. Here's Daphne sitting next to it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It makes moving the cards. It's a little better than, it's a little cooler than just moving cards around.
I wanted to play these tonight just for kind of a fun novelty, but I couldn't get quite the right camera angle so that you could see it. They do take up a lot of real estate, so it would block the view of some of the other things. Like
if you definitely had to turn them down, they'd take up even more real estate.
Yeah. But kind of a fun thing if you're not like dialed into a playmat or a limited camera view like we are right now. I could see these, being spread out and almost moving them around like chess pieces. It'd be kind of fun aspect to have to go along with the game. But yeah, one of the collectible pieces that was unique to the game, along with those foil cards of the original Scooby Gang, and then Amber, and I'm sorry, what was the other one? Amber and
Crystal.
Yeah. So kind of cool, kind of neat. Now I feel like I really need to keep an eye out for Alien expansion so I can get those Amber and Crystal cards and maybe mix up my team a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen any more. I'm actually the foils or anything. The one thing I did see though, there was somebody selling the Alien expansion set.
Yeah, like in a binder, but without the ultra rares and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just the card. Yeah, without the ultra rares, none of the foils and that type of stuff. And then somebody was selling, and the same guy was selling both sets. He had the first and the. Of course, it was like $170.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably do it if it had ultra rares and foils and stuff, but just because the starter deck. The starter decks for I've never seen a booster pack for the first edition. I've never seen those. How many cards are available for the first?
For the first
Oh,
expansion?
No, for the
Or for,
first. Yeah,
for the
I know all the
base?
starter decks are the same, but were there
Uh,
other first edition cards? I'm thinking there were.
oh
But
yeah. There's a whole
yeah, there's like 300 in some of them total, isn't there?
yeah. I'm trying to look that up while we're talking here. But yeah, it wasn't the first edition wasn't just the starters.
All the
You know,
starters are the same, but there's a lot more
uh,
cards.
there were a lot more cards in that first issue. Um, of course, these are in alphabetical order, so I gotta scroll all the way down to Scooby Doo. But
And I think I want to say there's
yeah,
120 in the expansion.
that would stick with what is the industry standard. This doesn't tell me how many are in here, but yeah, I want to say there were 300 some odd. And again, this is just a guess. Somebody out there probably knows right off the top of their head, but I want to say there was about 300, and then that expansion was just over 100. Oh, this cat! This place is a zoo. The cat is now walking all over our Christmas stockings, and one of them is a keychain that when you press the buttons, it says different phrases from The Office, and she's walking around on it. All I've heard all night is Dwight telling me that, telling me all these different phrases from Dwight Schrute, telling me things.
Good old Dwight.
Good old Dwight, yeah. But yeah, I mean, even if you just got the basic, the first edition and the Alien expansion, you're going to get
There's a lot of cards to play with.
a pretty good library of cards, and definitely some opportunities to do some strategies and combos and specialized decks. So I think there's a lot of reasons to get this game, and the cards are still pretty inexpensive at the time of this recording. So if you like Scooby Doo and you're curious about playing a game or something, it's a no-brainer to pick up the starter deck. Or the starter kit, I should say. It's a kit for 2 players. So for 10 or 11 bucks, you're getting a 2-player game. And if you like it, great. If you don't like it, you're not out a ton of money.
Yeah, I mean you can get that for less than 20 bucks.
Oh yeah. If you stick it out, and keep searching every day, they turn up with like $10 and maybe $4 shipping or something like that. So
Okay.
for a 2-player game, it's not a big loss. You're going to get a good fun game.
I got some numbers for you.
Hit me. What do you got?
The expansion was 100 cards, and the original was 220. It's 320 total cards.
Yeah, that not bad. Not a bad library.
That's not extra cards or foils, or that's just straight.
Just all the regular.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I wonder, did the Alien expansion? It probably didn't have more of the clue cards. I'm guessing because that would mean a whole nother checklist.
No, and there's let's see, the checklist that came with the Alien expansion is the same.
Yeah, just like the X-Files, you can't keep changing that all the time, and then people have the outdated version. So next up, we need to get you a proper playmat.
Yeah, I looked at even potentially ordering one of those playmats from somewhere that does custom ones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'm too inept to put one together.
Oh well, Steven's got one put together. If you've got an idea, I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and see if we could flesh it out on the computer and get it together. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I've used Photoshop quite a bit, and we could probably put something together for you that'd be kind of fun to have.
Let me see. Have you? Let's see. Let me find it. I just went. I think I just went to your playmat, one of these custom playmat places.
That's where Steven and I have gotten our sleeves, and
Yeah.
I ordered that X-Files playmat that I made. And again, that was just me, pulling stuff off the internet and putting it together, and I think it turned out pretty well. And your playmat, it was a quality playmat. It had I paid a couple extra bucks and got the threaded edge to make sure it didn't come apart and that kind of stuff. And
get curled up on the ends.
Right. And it was a good quality playmat. I really like it. The colors were nice and vibrant, and the playmat, my design had a lot of small writing on it, numbers and letters and stuff, and it all turned out pretty clear. So I was very happy with it.
They weren't very expensive. I mean, they were only unless you got really crazy, you could make one that was pretty expensive.
Yeah, if you start getting into custom size, aside from just the standard sizes, if you want something that's a bigger size, and you go with the threaded edge like I did, and they can add all kinds of bells and whistles for you, and you can pay a couple extra bucks and have an expert, an expert, help you with the making sure the colors are good and nice and vibrant, maybe even enhance the colors more so than you did, that kind of thing. I mean, you can go all out, right, if you really want to make a thing out of it. It's if you're just a goof like me and you put something together, I was pretty happy with what I got. So
I think you can do it as cheap as $35 though.
No, it was a little more than that. They got to make it worth their while if they're going to do just a one-off playmat and wrap it up and put it in a box and ship it. So they charge a couple of bucks, but I was motivated, so I did it.
I usually don't mind that part so much as long as it's something I like and I'm going to use.
Well, that's the real trick.
Yeah, that's the real trick.
Looks like you got a couple of potential Scooby Doo players that have been getting on camera behind you there too.
I know my littlest one that was just back there. She's the Scooby Doo fan. She's the one that'll play. I think Isaiah's pretty committed to X-Files, but she likes.
Yeah, for Isaiah, it'd probably be a big step backward for him.
Well, he likes the show too. It's not just the game. He likes the show. So at least all of it that I let him watch. I don't let him watch things like Home.
Yeah, that one's a little rough.
That's still a little too rough. Yeah, not for the kiddos. No.
Well, gosh, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for playing this game with me. I really like this game. It's a nice break from some of the heavier games that we play. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. I hope you liked it enough to play another one with me. But yeah, great times. Merry Christmas. Have fun. Thanks again. Anytime you want to play me, just throw it out there, and we'll get something on the calendar. I love stacking up my YouTube channel with upcoming videos. It makes me look like I'm busy and important and stuff. So I always like to do that. So yeah, thanks again for getting the game and agreeing to play with me. I really appreciate it.
I was happy to do it.
Yeah, and next time maybe we'll open some of those Alien expansions on camera so we can take a look at them and see what they bring to the game as opposed to the first edition.
Absolutely.
Right on. Well, anything else you want to throw out there? Shout out to anyone or something you got coming up? You got any games coming up on other channels you want to let me know about?
Mike up in Canada, Four-Way Flashers, he's got a channel that I may, he wants to do some X-Files opening, and we might do that the day after Christmas. He was asking. I haven't confirmed it yet.
That's cool. So stay tuned. That's Four-Way Flashers on Comics, if I remember, is the full name of his YouTube channel. I'll look it up and put it in the description for anyone who has actually watched this episode for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Most of the conversation, you wouldn't think we were playing Scooby Doo even, but anyway, yeah, we'll look forward to you opening some of those X-Files packs on Mike's channel. He's a real nice guy. He's a great guy, and that would be really cool to watch and see what comes up in some of those packs. Anything else? You got another game coming up or anything?
I don't have any other games. The only other game I even know of is Guillaume and Steven.
Right. That's coming up on Saturday, the 23rd, 2023, if you're watching this in the future. But if you do happen to watch this and you want to see an X-Files game, definitely tune into Alien Investigations for that.
It's going to be a late one. It's 10:30 Central Time.
Well, it's times like that I'm glad I live in Pacific time, so it's not nearly as difficult for.
It's hard for being in France. So. Yeah.
Oh yeah, getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning. He's dedicated to the.
He's committed
to the game, and I definitely respect that. And he's a great guy too. It's fun to watch him play, especially with Steven. I do have to ask before we go. I'm trying to wrap it up, and then I think of something else. You're always very open-minded about playing games and different games. We do have X-Files versus system kind of on the horizon. I know you've got a box of that, and so do I. And I would love to get that on the channel if you are still interested.
Absolutely.
Question for you: are you a Star Trek fan?
Oh yeah.
Really? Would you be interested in playing Star Trek, the card game?
You know, I've never played it. I actually had some of that, and I had some of the Star Wars one too back in the day. Never played it either, but I had the cards.
Okay. This is not Star Trek, the CCG from Decipher. That was the more popular one that lasted decades and decades.
That's what I know about.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this one is Star Trek, the card game. It was made by Skybox.
Wonderful.
My cat is having a conniption fit over here. I need to wrap it up. But if you're a Star Trek fan, I really like this game, even more so than the CCG. The CCG has its own really cool aspects, and it's a great gameplay. This is completely different, and it's a whole new approach. So I think you might be intrigued by that. If you have a minute, check it out on my channel. Watch the gameplay. If you're interested, I can get you a couple of starter decks and some packs, and get those in the mail to you. If you're interested in playing, I would definitely love to get another person playing that game. Nathan and I have played it, and Alistair, who's on the X-Files Discord, he and I have played a few games of that too. It's a lot of fun if you're a Star Trek fan. So if you're interested, let me know. Would like to get some more games of that in the new year as well. So keep that in mind, and hopefully, I think really we just need to set a date on that X-Files versus system.
Star Trek, is it Next Generation, original?
Original only.
Original only. Okay.
Yeah. It's just the core bridge crew, and I could talk all about it, but
okay,
we're already approaching 3 hours, and this is a Scooby Doo episode.
Right.
So, but if you're interested, check out the videos on there. Just kind of breeze through it, see if it's intriguing. If it is, we'll get you set up with some cards, and we'll play that. And X-Files versus system, hopefully in the next couple weeks, maybe.
Definitely give it a shot.
Okay, we'll discuss that offline and hopefully get a date set, and we can play that. You've played the Marvel version of Versus, right? So
I think I actually played the DC.
DC, sure.
It's been a long time.
Okay, well, it's like riding a bike, right? You never forget.
It's almost it's very, I would call it Pokemon-ish or Magic-ish. It's kind of just it's almost a fight, just a fighting back and forth kind of thing almost. it's a lot less mechanics with like what we've been doing.
Okay.
All that.
Well, I couldn't resist. I think the cards look great, and I'm very curious about the gameplay. I tried watching people play other versions of it, and it just didn't hold my interest enough. But the X-Files version, I definitely want to play that. So we'll get it something on the calendar coming up. And so, yeah, other than that, just stay tuned to Studio Squim. We're playing X-Files, we're playing Scooby Doo, we're playing 24. Battlestar Galactica is coming up. 24, if you know the TV show from back in the 2000s with Kiefer Sutherland. They made a game out of it, and uh, I've been playing a couple games offline with people, and I think we're just about ready to start playing some online. We've got it streamlined enough. So keep an eye out for 24 Battlestar Galactica. In the new year, I'm going to be playing a few solo games, G.I. Joe deck building game. Jonathan, maybe you and I and a couple other people will even play the X-Files Legendary Encounters board
Yeah.
game. I'm very
Yes.
interested in playing that. I watched a couple playthroughs from some other channels, and I really got a good, like I was playing, like he was playing an episode kind of feel from it. So I'm very excited
Yeah.
to get a version of that for myself, and we'll figure out how to play it online with multiplayer. That's another thing that I like about it is it's going to be multiplayer instead of just one-to-one face-off kind of thing. It's everyone against the game.
Yeah, everybody's on the same team
Yeah,
playing
it's
it to try to
sure.
beat the game. Basically, what I've heard about it is, as far as playing it online, you can do it as if you've got enough cameras.
Yeah, that's the trick. But we'll see if I've reinvest in Studio Squim a little bit, and we'll see if I could be like the dungeon master and just have the board, and you guys decide what you want to do, and all I do is just move the cards around and reveal and that kind of stuff. So that's how I played some other games online, some board games. But yeah, a lot to look forward to in 2024. Uh, so stay tuned. Please subscribe if you liked this. Give it a like, give it a comment, so I know that people out there want to see more Scooby Doo. I know I want to play more. Uh,
Me
and
too.
there's a lot to look forward to in 2024. So thanks again, Jonathan, and I will see you very soon. Thanks, everybody.